Okay, so number 2, on our notes on the back, it says if the coordinates of triangle CAM are C, who's at 8, 3, A, who's at 2, 5, and M, who's at 9, 8, name the coordinates and graph the points after rotation of 90 degrees around the origin. All right, so when we do rotations, we actually rotate our paper. The one thing that you have to remember is that we rotate our paper to the right. So we say the right way to rotate our paper is to the right. Okay, so you're going to grab the top of your paper and you're going to turn your paper literally once to the right. Okay, so take the top of your paper, make sure you're turning it to the right. Okay, I'm going to turn my board to the right. So what is quadrant 2 actually now becomes quadrant 1, and we're going to regraph the points that they told us, except when we plot them, we'll call them primes. Okay, so we're going to find 8, 3, and we'll put a dot. Okay, and that's going to be C prime. Okay, all right, then we're going to find 2, 5, put a dot, call it A prime. And then find 9, 8, put a dot, call it M prime. Okay, we can connect our points, and then we're going to rotate our paper back. So now we're going to turn it to the left. Okay, and our triangle looks like it has turned into the next quadrant. So our triangle turned, and it turned because we turned our paper to graph it, and then when we turned it to the left, it went the right direction, and that is 90-degree rotation counterclockwise. So it's a positive 90-degree rotation. Okay, and so now we're going to state our coordinates of our new points. Okay, so C prime is now at -3, +8. Okay, A prime is now at -5, +2. And M prime is now at -8, +9. Okay, and it's asking which quadrant is triangle CAM in, and it is in quadrant 2. Okay, remember that this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3 down here, and this is quadrant 4. Okay, and there we go. All right, so let's take a look at number 3. So now it says if the coordinates of triangle CAM are the same as we began, so you can see that the triangle is still in quadrant 1, it's asking you to name the coordinates and graph the points after rotation of 180 degrees around the origin. Okay, so 180 degrees is 2 turns, okay, to the right. So you take the top of your paper. The right way to turn your paper is to the right. So we turn it once for 90 degrees and once more for 180, and now your paper is upside down, and we're going to go ahead and graph the points. So what used to be quadrant 3 should now look like your quadrant 1 to you. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and graph +8, +3. Put a dot, call it C prime. Okay. Go ahead and graph +2, +5, put a dot, call it A prime. Okay. And then find +9, +8, put a dot, call it M prime. Go ahead and connect your points. And then we're going to turn our paper to the left to turn it back, okay? And you're going to see that the triangle turned once into this quadrant for 90 and then once into this quadrant, which is a grand total of a positive 180-degree rotation, okay? All right, so now it's asking what quadrant will triangle CAM be in? And we can go ahead and say that our triangle is now going to be in quadrant 3. Okay, your coordinates are now located at, so C prime is now located at -8, -3. A prime is at -2, -5, and M prime is now at -9, -8. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at number 4. And in number 4, it's asking us to do the same thing, except this time rotate 270 degrees, okay? So you can probably think about where your triangle will now be, and it's going to now be located in quadrant 4. Okay, and remember that the right way to turn your paper is to the right, so it's 3 turns to the right. So top of your paper goes once to the right, twice to the right, 3 times to the right. So we're actually graphing in quadrant 4, but with our paper turned, it looks like quadrant 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and graph positive 8, positive 3, put a dot, call it C prime, graph positive 2, positive 5, put a dot, call it A prime, and last one, find positive 9, positive 8, put a dot, call it M prime. Okay. When we go ahead and graph our triangle, and we turn our paper back, okay, our triangle looks like it has rotated. Once to be 90 degrees, twice to be 180, and then 3 times to be 270 degrees. Okay. One more turn would be 360 degrees, and it would put the triangle right back on itself. Okay. All right, so we're going to state our coordinates. Our C prime is now located at positive 3, negative 8. Okay. A prime is now located at positive 5, negative 2, and M prime is now located at positive 8, negative 9. And there they are. Okay, and we could go back up and we could look at the mapping rules as well. Okay, in this one, our mapping rule would have been x comma y, and you could see what happens. The y actually became into the x spot, and your x went into the y spot. Okay. Let's see. So your y went into the x spot, and your x went into your y spot, but he became the opposite sign, so you'd have to make him a negative x. Okay. If we go back up and we look at 180 degrees, you can see that the rule is actually going to be a little bit different. Okay. What happened here is that they stayed in their same spot. They just became the opposite sign. So negative x, negative y. Okay. If we go back and look at the 90-degree rotation and write the rule for that, you can see in this one, okay, that your y came into the first spot but became negative, and the x went into the second spot. Okay, so you can see why rotations are a little bit tricky is that the rules for each one are a little bit different. Okay. All right, number 5 says in the accompanied diagram, a transformation maps triangle XYZ onto triangle X prime, Y prime, Z prime. Identify the transformation. Okay. So since we're starting with this triangle, and this does look like a rotation, okay, if we turn it this way, our triangle would look something like this, where this is now X. Okay. If we turn it again, it's going to look something like, let's see, this, where this would be X. Okay. And if we turn it one more time, our X will be down there. So we turned it once, twice, 3 times. And so this is a rotation around the origin of 270 degrees. So with rotations, we have to remember to not only state that it's a rotation, the point we're rotating around, which is always going to be the origin on a graph, and then comma 270 degrees. Okay, so make sure you state that it is a rotation, the center, which is the origin, and then the degree. All right, guys, so that's how we do rotations. Just remember the right way to turn your papers to the right. Always turn the top of your paper to the right. 1 turn for 90, 2 turns for 180, 3 turns to the right for 270. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next day.